All right, so this tutorial is going to go over how we put together a collage using Pixlr instead of Photoshop. Since we're home on our Chromebooks, that is what we are going to use. It is very similar to Photoshop. There are certain parts of it that are different. I'll go over those differences. Um, it is going to be a little more difficult to get used to, only because we're using our Chromebooks. Most of you will not have mice to use. There are difficulties that may arise, but we'll get through it. It'll be okay. So, number one, you are going to start out by choosing what kind of landscape you're going to base this on. I'm going to use a desert. That's what I have in my example. That's what I'm going to show you. So, I look up a desert. I'm going to go with this image. The nice thing about being on home Wi-Fi is that we're not running into the school Wi-Fi kind of blocking images. So you're going to come up with a lot better search results. Things are going to be much clearer. So that's a benefit of us being at home for our collage projects. So right click on your image, save image as. And it's slow. We're just going to have to work through it. It really depends on how fast your Wi-Fi is. And certainly the Chromebooks themselves are kind of laggy. So it's a challenge, but we'll get through it. So you guys will notice that it will automatically save into your downloads. You're probably going to want to organize this at some point, but for now, save it in your downloads. Save. And you guys may hear my baby crying in the background. My apologies, not much I can do about it. Welcome to my life. So we're going to go to Pixlr.com. This is Advanced E. This is a web-based Photoshop knockoff, basically. So you're going to go to Create New. And the full HD is fine. Click Create. All right, so now you'll see first difference off the bat, navigate. I kind of like this panel, honestly, because you can zoom in and zoom out to easily see the parameters of your file. You have layers, you have your history panel, and you have your toolbar. Okay, so first difference, you cannot just copy and paste images into your file. It's annoying, but what you have to do is add a layer. So click that button there, add image. It will open up your files. Usually it will also, it's going to open up what you were just in. So if it's in downloads, it'll be there. And usually the most recent stuff is at the top. So I'm going to go with that. Open. This is the move tool. They call it range. It can move, but can also transform things up and down, scale them up and down. Okay. Fixed keeps it the same parameters that it came in as. Free, you can stretch. Okay. So number one, I am going to start altering my image. So for my surreal landscape, I don't want the sky. Okay, I'm going to take that out. So we're going to use our magic wand. They call it wand select, and it combines the direct selection tool and the magic wand at the same time. So it's an annoying tool. It's not the best, but work through it. You're going to have to probably redo the selection a few times until you really get what you want. So we use our wand, new selection. I'm going to go ahead and click and drag. And you see how it's not great. And it also is a little bit laggy. So just give it a chance. It will happen. We can add to our selection. We can remove from our selection. So I'm going to add to my selection. A little click drag and click drag like so. I'm going to click backspace or press backspace on my keyboard, and there we have it. There goes my sky. Select, deselect. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and scale this and move this down. Okay, so now I want a sky. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and look up galaxy sky, if I can spell properly. All right, that'll do. Actually, it's a little blurry. That one's nice. Okay, again, not copying, right click, or with you press with 2 fingers on the trackpad, which then gives you this box here. Save image as. And it's a little laggy, give it time. Again, it's saving into your downloads. Okay, pop back over to Pixlr and add layer, image. Give it a moment. Okay, use that. Click on it, open. Okay. Go free on this. Scale it. Okay, and then I'm going to move my layer underneath. Okay, already I'm liking the way this looks. Okay, so now let's see what is going to be my focal point. So by focal point, I mean what the viewer is looking at first. I have a few focal point options in this example. I have my panda in his boat. Another focal point, I think, is the house. So I'm going to go ahead. I think I'm going to put giraffe in here. Maybe that's our focal point. If I spelled properly, it'll be a miracle. So go through. Let's see. Being too picky. In a tutorial, I don't have time. So let's go with this one. Pretty clear. I'm going to save the image. Okay. Again, it's saving into downloads. You'll want to organize that later. Okay. Pop back into Pixlr. Now, the history panel is hiding the bottom of my layers panel. So just minus the history, and then you have the bottom of your layers image. Got a giraffe. And I may not want to keep this giraffe in here. You know, you're going to do a fair amount of put stuff in and then realizing I don't want that at all. So we'll see how this works. Also, if it turns into too much work, if a certain image, like the background, is just not selecting right, and even when you use the eraser tool, which I'll go over in a second, I think that's selected fine. We also want to get underneath our giraffe here, and that's where we may start running into some of our problems. Like, it's not going to be the cleanest cut. None of this is going to be the cleanest cut. But we do our best. Now this is messy. But don't forget, you have the eraser. Eraser's down here. Up here, we got the brush, so you can change the size of your eraser. You can have it have soft edges. There's a whole bunch of other things that you can do. Test it out. Remember, you can also use the eraser. Just be careful, take your time. Definitely zoom in, use your magnifying glass, get in there. Let's see. Now that eraser is way too big for that space, so I'm going to go in, make it smaller. Now you're also going to want to utilize a good amount of layering. So if something like, see the feet look terrible. So I'm definitely going to put something, I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to put something over the giraffe's feet so that it hides it. So work smarter, not harder. Okay, so let's see what we got. You can go up to navigate and zoom out. Not terrible. So I wanted more than one giraffe. You can right click on a layer and duplicate that layer. Now there's 2, like so. Okay. All right, let's see. Other things you can do. Adjustments. You can click adjustment. You can go to hue and saturation, Move your panel over so you can see. And I'm changing the color so it may fit a little bit better into my landscape. If I make it a green giraffe, boost the saturation. Let's zoom in. Oh, well, needed to zoom in before I did this. Say I apply it. There we go. Okay. This is not the cleanest. I'm doing this quickly just so you can see. You guys know how to make collages, okay? This is beginning of the year stuff, but I'm trying to have you guys get a feel for Pixlr, how to navigate through it by doing something you already know how to do. So I have a lot of empty space here. I'm definitely going to fill it in. Other things we can do. Let's grab this giraffe. You can apply filters to specific things. So let's see. We can do, let's go to the giraffe library. All of these, if you click on them, there's different ones, like so. You can utilize those. Not all of them are you're going to notice too much of a difference, but it's an option. Things you can use. That kind of actually works with the sky. I think I'll apply that. And you can kind of lower the intensity of that filter too. So you can do filters, you can change the hue and saturation, you can change the brightness and contrast, you can make things brighter, contrast, okay. Requirements. Must be a landscape, must be at least 10 images, there must be a focal point that drives the narrative, okay? The narrative can be crazy, it's surreal. This is not supposed to make sense in that it would be like a real thing happening in the world, but we still want it to have a sense of space and depth. We still want to be able to feel like we can walk around in this landscape, even though it's crazy. Maybe it could happen on some other planet, in some other world, right? In some other reality. We want a balanced composition, meaning I didn't throw these fish and my panda and the house, on the left side, nothing's on the right side, right? We want things to be balanced, okay? And evidence of good work ethic and effort. That means that you are taking your time, you are applying different filters to different parts of your image, that you are really thinking, that you're putting in effort. I will know if you have just slapped in a giraffe and done nothing to it, okay? I want to see a lot of different things happening within your collage, okay? So say I'm done. Of course, I'm not nowhere near done with this example, but say I'm done. You're going to right click on any of the layers and you want to flatten the image. Okay, so now it's all one thing. Double click on the little lock there so that now I can apply a filter to the entire thing all at once. That will pull it all together, okay? So that's another requirement that I do need to add, an overall filter that pulls the whole thing together, okay? Lots of different options. I'm just gonna show you that. So now it all looks like it's all one thing, okay? So we'll go back to our requirements. Landscape, 10 images, a focal point, sense of space and depth, good composition. I will add in a filter over top of the whole thing that pulls it all together. And say we're done and we're happy. File, save. Call it what it is, real collage. Save it as a JPEG, like usual, download. Okay, it will go into your downloads. Show the folder so you can see. Again, it's going to take forever. Okay, there's my collage. Okay. Now, I don't think I'm going to have you use your Google Slides. I think we're going to go ahead and use Google Classroom to get things in. I'll give you more information on that later. But that is how you save your finished collage. Okay? If you have any questions at all, let me know.